I don't have to motivate this team for this game. Are you kidding? This is the Super Bowl.
This afternoon, we're going to play the biggest football game in the history of Western civilization.
If you can't get ready to play this game, you ought to take a hike.
Of you work your tail off. 5 seconds left. 4, you dreamer. 3, 72, pushing 2 weeks. Super Bowl, baby! Boom, boom, boom!
Super Sunday, what a day. It's unbelievable.
Super Bowl Sunday. It's not just a game. It's the most hyped event in the world.
Super Bowl is bigger than life. Can you imagine if somebody didn't know what the Super Bowl was? Like, what planet are you on?
Listen, the Eagle has landed.
Okay, but even Martians know not every Super Bowl is created equal.
They should have called the game. There was nothing left but a pile of bones. We switched it over to The Simpsons.
Bad. Very bad.
You want there to be drama from the beginning of the game all the way until the end.
High drama here on the Super Bowl.
You have to have the Bradys, or you have to have the Bradshaws.
A brilliant throw by Bradshaw.
Great players making great plays at opportune times.
Oh, it's inside the 5-yard line.
Time to be great.
But you also have to have the hero that nobody saw coming.
How in the world did he do that?
While not everyone will agree with our list of top 10 Super Bowls, each contest lived up to the hype.
What a finish to this Super Bowl.
The number 10 Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl III.
This is what you people do. You come up with these lists. They make no sense. Super Bowl III, when Joe Willie Namath guaranteed victory. Blah, 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 blah.
Our number 10 Super Bowl stirred up controversy. Some argued it was too sloppy to be a great game.
Yeah, the game itself sucked.
Man, we should have had 3 points that time at least.
Kind of dull.
Hell, I'm sorry. We should have some points up on the board that time, please.
If you look at it from a standpoint of the action, the game itself was a very boring game.
Well, you can't please everybody.
People look back on it and they say it wasn't an exciting game. I thought it was. This wasn't a football game. This was history.
There was a lot of fuss made about my guaranteeing the victory.
Thursday night before the game, Joe Namath not only predicts victory, he guarantees it.
Namath has not been bashful this week. He has said that the Jets are going to win. He doesn't even predict it. He said, I guarantee a Jet victory.
And I, of course, pasted that up in the locker room, Namath's prediction, and tried to use that as a motivation for our team.
He was shooting his mouth off, and who wouldn't? I mean, if you're an 18-point underdog, I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to come out there and whip your butt.
We're going to win the game. I guarantee it.
Super Bowl III had the unexpected. Most waited for Joe Namath to come out throwing, but the game featured his abilities as a play caller.
He managed the game masterfully, the way Bart Starr had been famous for managing games with the Packers.
Jets inside the 10-yard line. The handoff to Snell. He may go, and he's in there. Snell scores.
The guy that won the game was Matt Snell.
That Snell's been the outstanding runner so far.
The Jets ran over them. Those running backs for the Jets did a great job.
He may be sitting in one of sports' greatest upsets in history.
The Colts that game in the first 31 minutes had 4 turnovers and missed 2 field goals.
And it is no good.
They should have won that game going away.
It was a day from hell. There were so many stupid little mistakes that just killed you.
Intercepted by Jim Hudson. That's the 4th interception.
What heightened the drama of our number 10 Super Bowl was the cameo of a hobbled Johnny U in the second half.
I can understand people watching it at the time expecting the moment when the Colts explode into the lead.
And Baltimore finally gets on the scoreboard.
And I think there was this uneasy feeling on the part of Jets fans that, yeah, we're ahead, but we're really not going to win this game.
Intercepted. Andy Beverly downs it.
Then all of a sudden, we're going to win this game.
The game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions.
I think what Namath and the Jets did that day really changed the course of football history. This was the football world turning on its axis.
Our number 10 Super Bowl is a golden oldie. The AFL's first win made Super Sunday must-see TV.
The biggest star in the game, from the biggest city in the game, orchestrates arguably the biggest upset in pro football history.
Joe, you're king of the hill.
No, we're king of the hill.
It's not as exciting as maybe the other games on this list, but lest we forget what that game did for the sport, way too low. Way, way too low.
Coming up, see which fantastic finish earned a spot on our list.
Most of the time when we rate Super Bowls, we rate how they finish.
To me, that was one of the most thrilling finishes in the game's history.
No one likes losing, especially on the game's biggest stage.
This has just been a nightmare.
We had 4 bites of that apple and still didn't swallow it.
Nice going, Leonard.
Victory tastes sweeter when it's an unexpected underdog story like the number 9 game on our list.
The number 9 Super Bowl of all time. Super Bowl 36.
Super Bowl 36, Patriots over Rams, is way too low. Way too low at number 9.
That was the greatest game I ever had the opportunity to broadcast.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Super Bowl 36.
Super Bowl 36 between the Rams and Patriots was played in a time like no other.
That first Super Bowl after the tragedy of 9/11, and it was the New England Patriots. We were all Patriots.
Red, white, and blue, and Patriots. And we're trying to come together after a terrible national disaster.
The 2001 Rams had a historic offense.
The Rams are just going right up and down the football field, and we ain't gonna stop.
I think the 2001 St. Louis Rams were a truly dominant team.
And in Super Bowl 36, the underdog Patriots took advantage of a mistake by the vaunted Rams offense to start their march towards history.
When Ty Law picked the pass off and returned it for a touchdown, you could see it start to build. And then the David Patton touchdown.
Brady fires right. Touchdown, David Patton! The score at halftime, Patriots 14, Rams 3.
One of the things that I think really flipped it, though, for the Rams was that game they played against the Patriots in Foxborough in November of 2001, and the Patriots played them very well.
You want to be a championship? Double A right here. You have to be able to win on the road.
What the Patriots learned in Week 10 helped them in their Super Bowl rematch.
The only way that they were going to beat the greatest show on turf offense of Mike Martz was to get physical at the line.
Let's beat the hell out of his receivers and his backs and try and screw up the timing that way.
Here comes a bump and run now. This is what they've been successful at all game long.
Hit him, hit him, hit him.
He was jarred on a big hit.
The ironic part of this game is that they almost blew one of the biggest leads in Super Bowl history when the Rams scored 2 touchdowns to tie the game.
Touchdown, Ricky Prohl. What a play. Kurt Warner to Ricky Prohl.
With the game tied with just over a minute left, the Patriots decided to go for the win rather than go to overtime. Not everyone agreed with that decision.
Famously, John Madden second-guessed and said,
Now with no timeouts, with this field position, you have to play for overtime.
of course, they pushed it down the field and put Vinatieri in position to win that game.
And Adam Vinatieri will try to win it with a 47-yard field goal attempt. Set to go, snap, ball down, kick up, kick is on the way, and it is good! It's good! It's good! And the Patriots are Super Bowl champions!
It's absolutely the right call by Belichick. It ended up being the right call by Belichick.
You thought they were going to go conservative. John Madden thought they were going to go conservative. Bill Belichick had other ideas. To me, that was one of the most thrilling finishes in the game's history.
You know what? We shocked the world, but we didn't shock ourselves. We knew we could do that.
I think Super Bowl 36 should be in the top 5.
New England, you have the best football team in the world.
It's got to be top 5. I would argue top 3.
That's number 1 in my book.
The number 8 Super Bowl of all time. Super Bowl 44.
I think it's a little too low. I think this was a really good game that people
understood after it was over how great a game it was.
The Saints as underdogs, which they've been their entire franchise history, come through tonight with a valiant effort.
The New Orleans Saints. I mean, the team that for years had epitomized futility, the team that couldn't win, didn't know how to win, in the city that couldn't win.
We couldn't do diddly, poo, it sucked, it stunk.
The Saints' opponent in Super Bowl 44 was the Colts, quarterbacked by New Orleans native Peyton Manning.
It is New Orleans' favorite son against New Orleans' favorite team.
Peyton Manning, who, by the way, his father just happened to play for the Saints.
For the Saints, the trigger man is Archie Manning.
Peyton, who's your favorite football player then?
Medea.
60 minutes of football will determine who takes home the Lombardi Trophy.
In the early going, the Colts were flying high.
Lost it toward the end zone. Touchdown! Pierre Garçon!
But a mistake by Garçon may have grounded Indy's chances at taking control of the game.
The Pierre Garçon drop in the first half was arguably the biggest play in the game.
3rd down and 3 from the 29. A throw dropped by Pierre Garçon.
That game's over. That game is over. He catches that ball. He's going to score on that play. Game's over.
Well, that's a momentum changer, perhaps.
I've never seen a drop actually resonate as much as that one did.
The game itself didn't really become fascinating till the second half.
Steps into the football, and it's an onside kick. And it's going to be covered up by Chris Reese, I believe.
Sean Payton's onside kick was an incredibly gutsy, crazy, wild maneuver.
Literally, I cannot believe he just did that in the Super Bowl. And the fact that he had told the referees, hey, psst, look out for this because it's coming.
Normal setup, just normal to get off, and instead of kicking off, we just kick it left.
It's a good thing they recovered the onside kick, because if they don't, it will go down as the boneheaded call of all time. I'm talking all time, all right?
I remember whenever he hit that ball and we ended up getting, I'm like, wow, this guy just completely changed the momentum of the game.
That momentum carried over into the game's signature play.
The stunning interception by Peyton Manning in the fourth quarter.
Tracy Porter, an indelible image in Super Bowl history.
Looks in his direction. It's picked off! It's Tracy Porter again! He's going to go all the way! It is a Saint touchdown! 70 yards! He did it to Favre, and now he's done it to Manning!
You won a Super Bowl, and so did you!
I remember watching it, and I thought it was a thrilling football game.
The miracle in Miami has happened.
It'll be interesting to see how Super Bowl 44 fares as the years go on, because it has all the elements of being absolutely epic.
Get ready to party with the Lombardi.
There have been so many good Super Bowls the last decade or so. I don't know that it set itself all that far apart.
The Saints have won the Super Bowl.
I don't think it's just that we remember it because it's just been a matter of a few months. I think that's a game we're going to remember for years.
Coming up, see which franchise established a dynasty and earned a spot on our list.
That Super Bowl victory really cemented the legend and status as becoming a dynasty.
Some Super Bowl games haven't been so super.
A terrible disappointment.
The Super Bowl blowout used to be a time-honored tradition, like the post-game smooch and Gatorade bath. John Madden's Raiders made Super Bowl 11 a runaway.
Old Man Willie, he's going all the way!
That wasn't a game. The Vikings were out of it at the end of the third quarter.
Black 59 Laser! Black 59 Laser!
Joe Montana's 49ers scored a record 55 points against the Broncos in Super Bowl 24.
Just complete control of the offense. It's a clinic.
That was a good time to serve your community, because the Super Bowl lost its luster watching them fail.
While this 49ers blowout was forgettable, our number 7 Super Bowl was a San Francisco treat.
The number 7 Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl 23.
Super Bowl 23 actually should be higher than that because it was really the first truly great Super Bowl that lived up to the pregame hype.
It broke that string of blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout in the 80s, and finally we had a competitive finish.
We finally have a close game in the Super Bowl.
You look at what the Giants did 2 years ago. You look at what the Steelers did last year.
Those are the only two Super Bowls I'd put above Super Bowl 23.
Super Bowl 23 means an awful lot to me.
And what turned out to be Bill Walsh's final game, Super Bowl 23, saw the 49ers execute the West Coast offense to perfection.
That's another great throw by Montana. Great throw. Great catch again by Rice.
I wanted to finish my career with a Super Bowl victory.
With the game tied at 6 late in the third quarter, Walsh's Super Bowl aspirations took a turn for the worse.
Look out, he'll go on, he's gone. It'll be a 97-yard touchdown run for Stanford Jennings.
People remember Joe Montana's performance on the game's final drive. They forget he almost threw the game away.
Montana throws for the end zone. Intercepted. No drop. Holy mackerel, that was almost intercepted by Phillips.
Missed opportunity.
This is a missed opportunity for Lewis Phillips.
Montana threw the ball right to a Bengal defender.
Hit him right in the chest. I mean, right between the numbers.
Had it right in his hand.
You don't give Joe Montana second chances.
Montana's path to redemption started on the very next play.
Montana for Rice. Got it out of bounds. And right at the touchdown, 49ers.
It wasn't a great game. It was a great final drive.
Down by 3, the 49ers' drive to victory is the recent Super Bowl 23 is on our list.
Joe Montana, the technician, the surgeon, the conductor.
A lot of people tell me to this day that they remember that Super Bowl because of the way that it ended and the excitement that was attached to it.
Montana steps up, throws. Touchdown!
When you think of the drive, you think of John Elway. But when I think of the drive, I think of Joe Montana beating the Bengals in Super Bowl 23.
They went 92 yards in 11 plays.
I think you guys being a little generous to 23. I don't know if it cracks the top 10. You guys are definitely rewarding a great finish. And by the way, it was a great finish.
And also, perhaps one of the best games played.
That Super Bowl victory really cemented Joe Montana's legend, the 49ers' legend and status as becoming a dynasty.
The 49ers with 3 Super Bowl victories in the 1980s.
Super Bowl 23, everybody's thinking final play goes to Jerry Rice. Touchdown, John Taylor. Great Super Bowl because you never saw it coming.
The number 6 Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl 13.
If you're talking about Super Bowls, isn't it hard not to have the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s on the list?
There are 27 teams in pro football. And then there are the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Steelers and Cowboys were as popular in the 70s as funky hair and plaid slacks, winning 4 Super Bowls combined before Super Bowl 13.
You talk about the Steelers and the Cowboys and which team was the team of the decade in the 70s. Well, that's where the rubber met the road.
Maybe we are a team of destiny. I don't know.
This is Super Bowl 13, and the Pittsburgh Steelers meet the Dallas Cowboys for the world title.
You had 2 heavyweights going at it.
Get after their ass.
It was an ebb and flow kind of game. You were not certain who was going to win.
What a ball game this one's turning out to be, huh?
I remember John Stallworth in that game more than anybody else.
Stallworth is from Alabama, and down there, the locals say that he's like a blend of sipping whiskey and white lightning. Smooth, with a good, strong finishing kick.
That game might be placed a little higher simply because of the talent level.
We got the best offense, the best defense.
There are 17, 18, 19, 20 of the finest players in the history of this league on the field at one time.
Hard to beat. Hard to beat.
In a Super Bowl loaded with big plays, the stunner was a drop that would have tied the game at 21.
Poor Jackie Smith.
Poor Jackie Smith.
Oh, bless his heart. He's got to be the sickest man in America.
I still can't believe Jackie Smith didn't catch that ball. To this day, cannot believe it.
Nobody's ever going to remember his Hall of Fame career as much as they're going to remember that drop.
Jackie was so wide open in the end zone, it was incredible.
The nation watched as quarterbacks Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach dueled to the finish.
He was up in the air and made a circus catch.
We're up 35-17. Nice lead.
In the press box there, we're all packing our stuff up and heading downstairs. And all of a sudden we kind of hear, the Cowboys scored a touchdown.
Dupree to the 5 and in for the touchdown.
Staubach brought them back. And then everybody's scrambling to get a view of the field and saying, what happened? And all of a sudden the Cowboys scored another touchdown.
Staubach hits the touchdown pass with 22 seconds on the clock.
Pittsburgh then held off America's team in the final seconds for its third Super Bowl title.
It's all over. Super Bowl 13, captured by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Super Bowl 13, I think, needs to be higher because when you think about what was going on in the Super Bowl era at that time.
Gary Yepremian lost his head and tried to throw a pass.
The games were low scoring. They weren't very exciting.
No! What?
And Super Bowl 13 was the first true shootout.
When you go back and look at Super Bowl, they won't find a better than this one.
Coming up, find out which player single-handedly earned his team a spot on our ranking.
That's what it's all about, baby.
You have to have the guys nobody expected doing what they did to come up and make a play.
All right, Coach, calm down. We'll take a timeout from our list to recap what we've seen so far.
Timeout!
Number 10, Broadway Joe delivers on his guarantee.
I never really felt that the Jets were in trouble in that game.
Number 9, we are all Patriots today.
I think it should be higher.
Number 8, the Saints win one for New Orleans.
The miracle in Miami has happened.
Number 7, the 49ers drive to glory.
They went 92 yards.
It was a great final drive.
Number 6, the Steelers grab their third ring of the 70s.
That was probably as good a football game as I can truly remember.
And now, the number 5 Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl 38.
I think that the greatest Super Bowl the Patriots have ever played in was Super Bowl 38.
Good evening, everyone, from Super Bowl 38.
People sort of forget this game, but it had everything.
It was a great game because no one expected the Panthers to play that well.
They said we weren't supposed to be here. What game are we here?
People forget that 38, the first half, was a dog.
Second half going to be even exciting. It's going to be more exciting than the first half.
It was a Super Bowl that started scoreless the longest, and then boom, an explosion of points.
Throws it up for Steve Smith, and he's got it! Touchdown, Carolina! Steve Smith! Tom Brady, little play action to Antoine with the bullet for the touchdown to David Gibbons.
And that's what a Super Bowl is supposed to be about. Was physical, defensive, hard-hitting, grudge, old-time football.
After a rough and physical first 3 quarters, the game's final 15 minutes were played at a much different pace.
Loved this game because it was 2 games. It was the one where it was just physically brutal. And then the lid just blew off and it turned into a track meet.
At Big Springs, Texas, 2 great sprinters meet to settle a classic track rivalry.
It was a track meet. One team going up, the other team going back. One team going up, the other team going back.
10, 5, Foster dives in the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers!
It's just who is going to have the ball last.
Stallone is ready. He's got the ball and back to throw. Looks, floats it in the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina! Ricky Prohl! 29-29.
Of course, go figure, the Patriots had the ball last.
On their last drive, the Patriots were kick-started by the Panthers.
I'll never forget John Casey kicking it out of bounds before the Patriots' game-winning drive.
Oh, no. It was out of bounds. Oh, my goodness. John Casey can't believe what he just did.
Probably one of the biggest mistakes in Super Bowl history.
One kicker's mistake helped another atone for his.
Super Bowl 38. First quarter, 31-yard kick, wide right.
Adam looking for the first points of the game. Ball is down. Kick is up. Kick is no good.
Later in the game, 36-yard kick, blocked.
Kick is blocked, and the Panthers have stopped the Patriots again.
That's the most pressure that you can ever ask for a kicker. When you had to have it, he got it.
Kick up. Kick is on the way. Kick is good. Kick is good. We're Super Bowl champions again.
You were on the edge of your seat. That was a great, great Super Bowl.
I'm pretty sure I was at that game, and I don't even remember that Super Bowl. I think that game is vastly overrated. I don't even think it's top 10.
Adam Vinatieri with the money on the table. Bangs it through.
It's the greatest football game I've ever been to in person.
People will be writing that this may have been the best Super Bowl of all time.
On my personal list, Super Bowl 38 is number one.
The number 4 Super Bowl of all time. Super Bowl 25.
Too low. That was the greatest Super Bowl of them all. That game had it all.
Scott Norwood. He can fire the shot heard round the world now.
Snap, spot, in the air. It's got the distance. It is.
You mean to tell me that you invited me all the way back to Philadelphia to ask me about a lousy kicker?
The Deacon is right. Super Bowl 25 was decided by Scott Norwood. But here's the kicker. The big winner was the U.S. of A.
You remember the pregame ceremony with the onset of the Gulf War.
People were crying. There were helicopters in the end zone. And then you throw in the game. That was an incredible game.
National Football League at its very best here tonight.
I think it's got to go higher than number 4. That's just me.
So the Bills are coming into this game, and they are flying.
That offense was really difficult to defend with the hurry-up approach, with Jim Kelly, who had a huge arm and could make every throw.
The Bills are in the Super Bowl.
Former Super Bowl MVP Phil Simms missed the game due to injury, so an unknown named Jeff Hostetler would become the hero.
In Super Bowl 25, the Giants got a safety. He should have been rendered unconscious and should have given up the ball. How he ever held on to the football was an enormous play because that kept them in the mix.
Super Bowl 25 had a certain genius to it. David didn't stop Goliath. He kept him on the bench.
Bill Parcells and Ron Earhart played clock ball.
We're very predictable around here.
Parcells looks over at Earhart and says 3 words. Shorten the game.
Shorten the game.
Shorten the game. Let's run the ball. Let's take time off the clock. Let's limit their possessions. Let's limit their snaps.
The clock is running, and that's just the way the Giants want it.
They made a couple of key third down conversions. A huge one late in the game to Mark Ingram.
He's got Ingram for maybe a first down. He'll try to the 20. Yes, he's got it.
This team absolutely maximized its talent.
Touchdown!
More than any team in Super Bowl history.
Our number 4 Super Bowl had what every great game needs, the white-knuckle finish of a Hollywood blockbuster.
It had everything you could want, right down to the very end.
Here we go with 8 seconds to play.
47 yards. Tough kick.
That is a long way to kick a football.
It's like a horror movie. You sort of have to look away, and every time you watch it, you think, what if he made it this time?
High drama here in the Super Bowl.
You know, just like a movie.
Snap, spot, in the air. It's got the distance. It is no good.
If this stay on, I still thought that thing went through.
That one, to me, has to be number 1. I don't know of a game that viscerally affected more people.
What a finish to this Super Bowl.
That was perfect. That was perfection. Still, I think, pound for pound, moment for moment, the best Super Bowl ever played.
No good. Giants win.
Coming up, what is it about the number 3 Super Bowl that makes our panel so mad?
This is a joke, right? I'm being punked. I'm serious. I'm being punked by you.
Nothing makes for a better Super Bowl game than to see a quarterback finally win the big one.
Come on, Lenny. Pump it in there, baby.
Glenn Dawson atoned for a Super Bowl I loss by matriculating the Chiefs to victory in Super Bowl IV.
We did it. A big old weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Someone take them up.
Steve Young tamed an 800-pound gorilla by breaking Joe Montana's touchdown record in Super Bowl 29.
6 touchdown passes.
Steve would do something Joe never did. He needed that validation.
I want every one of you guys to bring this championship home tonight.
In Super Bowl 41, not even the rain dampened Peyton Manning's long-awaited victory parade.
The Colts are world champions.
There's some relief in the fact that I don't have to answer those questions anymore.
Still, none of these games made fans happier for a quarterback than our next Super Bowl.
The number 3 Super Bowl of all time. Super Bowl 32.
Broncos, Packers? This is a joke, right? I'm being punked. I'm serious. I'm being punked by you.
No, we're not bunking out. John Elway's Broncos beat Brett Favre's Packers in a Super Bowl crowd pleaser.
I was loving life because I had the greatest seats. Most of the big plays of the game were right in my face.
My goodness. Oh, man.
And the chick I was with was so hot that she kept getting on television.
My goodness. Oh, man. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
That was a great Super Bowl.
One thing that makes that game have lasting impact is the star power on that field.
Two great teams playing the last one of the year.
You had Brett Favre trying to win his second.
World champion, Green Bay Packers.
And you had another of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, John Elway.
I'm proud of the fact that we got to 3 Super Bowls. I don't care if we won or lost.
The Broncos were the perennial loser. They had lost all of the Super Bowls.
And what a mistake by John Elway.
John Elway was destined to be remembered, kind of like a Dan Marino, a guy who generates huge stats.
56-yard touchdown pass.
But you never really get that championship.
We're playing Indianapolis Colts right now. This team is not better enough. They're not even good.
It sounds strange, but I probably remember Terrell Davis more than anything about that game, even though it was Elway's game.
Elway, Davis, same play. Davis to the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
Truth was stranger than fiction in Super Bowl 32. The Broncos still used Terrell Davis while he was blinded by a migraine.
I think Davis may be shaken up. This would be costly for the Broncos.
Can't see. Okay, just do this. You don't worry about seeing on this place because we're going to fake it to you, the 15 lead. But if you're not in there, they won't believe we're going to run, okay?
Terrell got to the huddle. He says, hey, I can't see. I said, well, just go to the left and just run straight ahead and I'll adjust to you.
Vintage John Elway, the 37-year-old, making it happen with his legs.
Come on, John, come on. Come on.
Our number 3 Super Bowl showed old-timers everywhere that all it takes is desire to spin back the clock.
He dives inside the 5-yard line. A gain of 8. He wanted that first down.
He was just such a tough guy. With that hit and the helicopter landing and the pain that probably ensued for days thereafter.
You want to tell me the 37-year-old man doesn't want to win this game? Man, oh, man.
That one play really speaks to the fact that John Elway always was about doing anything he could to win.
To that point in time, the NFC had absolutely owned the AFC.
Yes, William Perry has scored the Super Bowl.
It was a decade and a half of us knowing exactly what conference was going to win the Super Bowl. That's not fun.
That's what it's all about. Have a little fun.
The game was a thriller in the final 2 minutes, with a 2-minute maestro calling the shots.
Davis into the end zone, rocking, standing up. Can you say Denver's in the lead?
Super Bowl 32 saw the AFC's 13-game losing streak come to an end, and a legend get his ring.
The Broncos have done it.
John Elway was towards the end of his career, and you thought, man, he's never going to get it done, and then he did.
You know how good that nice ring's going to look on your finger?
Super Bowl 32 being on the top of all time, I wouldn't even put it in my top 30.
I don't know if it ranked that highly. I think the John Elway factor. This one's for John.
This one's for John.
You know, that is what people remember about that.
I think it's in a good spot because of that moment and because it had an unexpected outcome. I think it is a very memorable game.
There are only 2 spots left. Stay tuned to see which of these 3 Super Bowls didn't make the cut.
What a throw. What a catch. What a game.
Leaving certain games off this list really angered our panelists.
How does Super Bowl V not make the list?
The World Championship of Professional Football would be settled in one final play.
That was the only thrilling finish that we saw in the first 15 years of the Super Bowl era.
The kick is up and is long enough.
But there was another omission that caused even more of an outcry.
Are you serious?
I'll let you guys figure it out. Which game do you think you're missing?
Are you kidding?
The Titans and the Rams.
This is a joke, right?
The fact that the tackle isn't on this list is completely ridiculous.
Throws right side for Dyson. He dives for the end zone. No, he falls at the 1.
This is crazy. It was the greatest Super Bowl ever played, and we can't even make this list.
He came up 1 yard short.
The one the Rams lost is on this list, but Super Bowl 34 is not.
The number 2 Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl 42.
Number 2? That has to be number 1.
And the Giants, with the most improbable win, have won Super Bowl 42.
I hated that one. That should be number 42.
The Patriots, seeing their undefeated season go up in smoke.
Now, if the Patriots lost a game or two, okay, I could put it down on the list. But since they were trying to beat Miami, be the second team to go undefeated,
17-0 says it all.
it puts a whole different element to the game.
You beat him, man. Just the way you did it, too. 18-1.
We don't stand a chance.
Our number 2 Super Bowl showed that sometimes the underdog can have one nasty bite.
Sacked by Michael Strahan.
No one came close to doing what the Giants' defensive front did to Brady and the Patriots in Super Bowl 42.
Patriots have not been a game this low scoring all year long.
Anybody who thinks that Tom Brady isn't tough just needs to flip on the DVR of that game and watch some of the thrashing hits that he took.
Jay Alford got in there.
Throughout the game, you're going, wow, Villanova's playing the perfect game. It can't go on like this.
You have to play perfect to beat the perfect team.
And all of a sudden, the clock's ticking off, and we're going, geez, they're really playing the perfect game.
And so the 18-0 season continues to hang very much in the balance. The Patriots are going to have to show us the stuff of champions here.
They still had the champion's heart, New England, to take it down the field and seemingly win the game.
Touchdown! Randy Moss!
Except that a young quarterback came of age in the last 2.5 minutes.
Just what every quarterback lives for. Can Eli Manning do it?
Super Bowl 42 had a miracle finish, thanks to Eli Manning and backup receiver David Tyree.
3rd and 5 for the Giants. 1:16 to go.
It defies all logic. To me, it's the greatest play in Super Bowl history because it actually has 2 parts.
Boyd the rush, and he's going to fight out of it. Still fights out of it. How did he get away from that? Now throws it deep downfield. Wide open Tyree, who makes the catch. What a play by the quarterback. And what a catch by Tyree with 58 seconds to go.
I was amazed, number one, how he got out of the grasp of the sack.
How in the world did he do that?
And then even amazed more when I saw Tyree make the catch on the top of his helmet.
That right there let me know we're going to win this game.
17-14, fellas. 1 touchdown, we are world champions.
The game proved nobody but the 72 Dolphins are perfect, with Manning throwing the game-winning touchdown pass.
The New York Giants have knocked off the New England Patriots 17-14.
If the Patriots had come back after the Plaxico touchdown, there would be no debate on who the greatest quarterback of all time was. There would be no debate on what the greatest team of all time was.
The Patriots will not be perfect.
I thought it was a very exciting game, but not the best Super Bowl I've ever seen.
So you're telling me you have the greatest catch in Super Bowl history,
I am still flabbergasted.
along with an undefeated season on the line, and a last-second win, and that's number 2?
Read all about it, baby. Big news.
End of discussion. There is no better Super Bowl than Super Bowl 42.
Coming up, which Super Bowl is truly number 1 on our list?
That is the number 1 Super Bowl of all time. It had everything.
No, not Superman, Super Bowls. Let's recap our list.
Number 10, the Jets soar to a title.
The New York Jets are the world
champions.
We did it. We did it.
Number 9, a Patriots shocker.
And the game is over.
We shocked the world, but we didn't shock ourselves.
Number 8, the Saints finally go marching in.
Get ready to party with the Lombardi.
I think I would put that higher. I really do.
Number 7, the 49ers establish a dynasty.
It was really the first truly great Super Bowl.
Number 6, poor Jackie Smith.
He's got to be the sickest man in America.
Number 5, Vinatieri does it again.
Vinatieri bangs it through.
I think that's underrated.
Number 4, wide right.
Super Bowl 25 was a great football game.
Number 3, the Broncos fought their losing trend.
This one's for John.
Number 2, perfection no more.
The New York Giants have knocked off the New England Patriots.
Number 2, that has to be number 1.
And now, the number 1 Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl 43.
I have never, ever been more entertained watching a Super Bowl than I was that day.
While we rank Super Bowl 43 as the best ever, not everyone agrees.
I put it in the top 10. I can't put it number 1.
It had a lot of huge plays. But the best Super Bowl of all time? This is a classic case of our memories are really short these days. Really short.
What a finish to an unbelievable Super Bowl.
No, it's not sexy because it was the Arizona Cardinals.
When nobody else believed in us, you guys did, and we're going to the Super Bowl.
You throw the Arizona uniform out and just look at the aesthetics of that game, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 43 is underway.
After a slow first 15 minutes, Pittsburgh and Arizona's second quarter scoring spree started this game on its path to greatness.
Touchdown!
And then James Harrison closed the first half of our number 1 game with one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history.
They're back. He throws the pass up. It's going to be picked up. James Harrison has it. He's running up the sideline. An amazing play by James Harrison. 25, 30, 35, 40. Still on his feet at the 45 and down. No, he's still on his feet. Here comes Harrison jumping over people to the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. And that's a touchdown from Pittsburgh.
James Harrison, Defensive Player of the Year, and you have Larry Fitzgerald tracking him down, running through the sidelines, bumping through coaches, and force a dramatic play at the end.
That interception return for a touchdown was one of the memorable moments in Super Bowl history.
In the fourth quarter, Larry Fitzgerald's record-breaking postseason continued.
Warren Myers up the middle of Fitz, caught at the 45, 50. Fitz is loose, 40, 30. Goodbye! Cardinals lead!
Larry Fitzgerald breaking everything in sight.
You gotta be kidding me!
Larry Fitzgerald exploded past everybody, and that was the moment when people thought, this Cardinal team, they're actually going to win this game.
The Cardinals lead Super Bowl 43.
When Larry got that ball and took it all the way to Larry land, my 2 thoughts were, well, great for Larry. And now Ben can go and win it.
Time to be great. Time to be great.
The Steelers were great on the game's final drive.
Santonio to the 10. Santonio tackle at the 5-yard line. Ben gets the snap. He's back. He pumps. Scrambles around. Throws it back corner of the end zone. Santonio with a touchdown.
Great catch by Santonio Holmes.
I don't know how he did it.
Santonio Holmes with that amazing catch in the end zone.
What a throw, what a catch.
That Santonio Holmes touchdown and the remarkable quality and the athleticism on the catch by Holmes, that really just stamps it.
That is the number 1 Super Bowl of all time. It had everything.
You have something to say, too? He's speechless.
Loved it. No problem with Pittsburgh versus Arizona being number 1 in this list.
That's how you be great! That's how you be great!
If you're a football fan, the hairs on your arm were standing up throughout the entire game.
What a throw, what a catch, what a game!
I don't think there were 9 Super Bowls. I don't think there were 5 Super Bowls. I don't think there were 3 Super Bowls better than what we saw in Super Bowl 43.
Now that the list is complete, opinions have been flying in about what people really think of our rankings.
Terrible job out of you guys.
You're terrible. Stupid. Stupid.
You're so dumb. How do
do you vote for this stuff? I mean, who do you have? I mean, do you use Price Waterhouse for this stuff?
There's been better games before 2008.
I'm done. Can I go now?